Eventually, we're gonna have to do some AC method in this section. So let's see if example 5 does that to us. There is a number in front of the x squared on this one. However, I'm going to view it as a GCF and factor out a -1. Because I'd rather not use AC method if it's just a -1. Because what factoring out a -1 does is it flips all the signs. Negatives become positive and positives become negative. So that's what I did. I factored out a -1 and flipped all the signs. You can always multiply it out and convince yourself, oh yeah, you do get what we started with. Because now I don't have to use the AC method. That's usually my goal, is to avoid that method if at all possible. I'm trying to multiply to 18 and add to -11. Let's make a table. We got 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. That sounds like things that multiply to 18. How can we add? We gotta add to a negative and multiply to a positive, so both of these need to be negative. It's looking like -2 and -9 would be the ones we need. All right, I'm gonna leave that GCF of -1 there. Then we have x minus 2 times x minus 9 equals 0. When solving this, we're really setting all the factors equal to 0. So I include that GCF, even though it's not gonna give me any x value because there's no x in it. It reminds me that, especially if the GCF did have an x in it, that I would need to check for that. But then the other ones, x minus 2 equals 0 would make x equal 2. X minus 9 equals 0 would make x equal 9. So our two solutions are 2 and 9. And you could certainly check by plugging in 2 and plugging in 9 and making sure you get 0. Let's try this next one though. First up, I don't have equal 0. So first up is definitely subtract 30. We have to have equal 0. What we get after we subtract 30 is 2y squared minus y minus 15 equals 0. It's an AC method, y'all. So we got an A that isn't a GCF that I can factor out. We got C, so we need to multiply to A times C, which is 2 times -15 or -30. And then we're adding to -1. Add to B equals -1. We still add to the middle number. So let's make a list of what multiplies to -30. 1 and 30, and I'll deal with the negative sign afterwards. 2 and 15, 3 and 10. Maybe that's it. Do any of these add to 1? Nope, so it's not it. 5 and 6. That's the one we needed. We need to add to a -1. So that means the bigger number has to be the one that's negative. So we're going to use +5 and -6, but with the AC method, I can't go straight to parentheses. We have to split the middle term. So we get 2y squared, and instead of -1y, I use +5y minus 6y minus 15. And you could have put the -6 and the 5 in the opposite order. I was just matching with what was over here. And now we factor 2 by 2, factor by grouping. Between the first two, the GCF is just y. And what's left behind is 2y plus 5 after we divide by y. Between the second two, there's a negative leading coefficient, so I got to divide by a negative, and it's looking like 3 is what's in common between 6 and 15. When you divide by a negative, that flips all the signs. So we get positive 2y and positive 5. And if you multiply it out, hopefully we see that, oh yeah, you would get negative 6y minus 15. All right, luckily the parentheses match. That's what we're looking for. 2y plus 5 times y minus 3 is factored form, and we still have this equals 0 that we worked hard to get at the beginning. I don't know if that was that hard, but we made sure we got it. So now our two answers, we either have 2y plus 5 equals 0 or y minus 3 equals 0. So we're gonna undo addition with subtraction. 2y is negative 5, divide by 2, divide by 2. Y is negative 5 over 2. This one's a lot easier. All we gotta do is add 3 to both sides. So our two solutions are negative 5 halves and 3. Both of these two numbers, if we plug them into the original equation, we should get that the left side equals 30 after we plug in those values for y. All right, last one on this page. First step, make sure you get equals 0. So I'm gonna subtract 4. So then what we get is 9t squared minus 4 equals 0. If there's two terms, really our only option is difference of two squares. So hopefully this is a squared minus another squared, which it is. 3t squared would give us 9t squared, and 2 squared gives us 4. So the factored version is 3t minus 2 times 3t plus 2 equals 0. All right, we gotta get t alone in both of these. So 3t minus 2 equals 0. I add 2 to both sides. 3t equals 2. Divide by 3, divide by 3. T equals 2/3. Well, what's going to change with the other one is that we have to subtract 2 from both sides. So 3t is negative 2. Divide by 3. T is negative 2/3. This is when I would even be okay if you just put plus or minus 2/3. That's what that symbol means, that it could be either positive or negative. And let's check this, because this one isn't too bad to check. I'm going to even leave the plus or minus on there. 9 times plus or minus 2/3 squared equals 4. Because when I square, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. Any number squared is positive. So that'd be 9 times 4 over 9, because negative or positive 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. Does that equal 4? Yep, because the 9s cancel, so it works out.